I'm decorating my 1950s house that is very much in the midst of being renovated, using all thrifted or handmade decorations, because replacing a roof before winter is simultaneously very expensive, very boring, and also very necessary. I started with one of the only things I already had, this delightfully heavy antique wooden ribbon trim that I thrifted last year. This filled up the empty wall above my television really well, but it felt a bit too formal against my low ceilings and generally pokey little living room. You may remember me making these garlands out of a bunch of protective strips from peel and stick mailers for my partner's birthday. I pulled those back out and hung them up around the door frames of my living room. Please ignore how stark my kitchen looks through this doorway, by the way. Curtains for that window are very high on my list of things to do. After hanging up some faux mistletoe to trap my partner under, I had exhausted most of the decorations I already owned, so I headed to the thrift store. I found a fake tree with half of its lights out, and because it was a fraction of the cost of the fully lit ones, and also because I admittedly anthropomorphize every single thing I see as being vaguely unwanted, I had to bring it home. Picking up some bags of working lights, some pleasingly gaudy beaded garland, and some plastic ornaments that had a glass look that I like, but wouldn't break when my cat inevitably pulls the tree down at some point. This was kind of an incredible haul for one thrift store, but I also made the trek into Boulder to hit my favorite art supply thrift store, Art Parts. I spent way too long sorting through beads, and also swung by the sweetest little stationery shop to pick up some markers and pens as a gift for a friend, and finally went back home with my treasures. I had these lovely little sparkly pipe cleaners that I had thrifted last year, which I trimmed down, sorted into a pattern that I found pleasing, and turned into a tinsely chain that left sparkly bits embedded in my socks, sweater, and also probably my living room floor for the rest of its life. After that, I dug out all of the metallic beads I could find and made some little bows with them. I have no idea if this is the correct way to do this, and I'm sure there are plenty of tutorials from smarter people than me, but this felt intuitive enough, and I liked the way they looked. Basically, I put a larger bead in the center of a section of thin armature wire, put an even number of smaller beads on each side, threaded the ends of the wire through the big bead to create the loops of the bow, and finished off the tails with more small beads. When I was done, I just threaded the excess wire back up through the beads so it wouldn't fall apart, and trimmed it. While I didn't film it to make the hangers, I just took a small piece of wire, threaded it through the center bead, and twisted it to form a little hanging loop. These came together really quickly, especially with the size of bead that I had, and they were really fun to make. I would love to spend more time making more of them out of seed beads for a slightly more delicate look, but that's going to be a next year project. While I really liked the borderline nauseatingly green icicles, I thought the bronze one would fade into the tree in a way that felt far too subtle for this year's decorations. I used some shiny silver spray paint that I already had to give them a chintzy little makeover, and strung them on some thrifted ribbon to give them a little extra color. I used the beads that I picked up from Art Parts to make an extra little garland, because I've never seen a surface I didn't want to cover in entirely useless strands of decorative shit, and I added it to one of the door frames. If you're noticing the paper chain on the other wall, I would like to pretend that it is something that I put up for the holidays, but the truth is it's been there since I made it and put it up in October for my partner's birthday, and I just never bothered to take it down. But now we're just going to call it a holiday decoration as well, and pretend that I'm really on top of things. This is where I found out that the lights on a pre-lit tree are attached to the branches with wickedly tiny little zip ties that are almost impossible to see, and are also far too tight to cut off without risking the branches. And the best method that I could come up with was just brute forcing them and yanking the lights off while shards of plastic bounced off my face and bits of fake tree got embedded in my hands. After that, it was time to relight it, which went significantly better, even if I was a little pissed to realize that I had picked up a bag of possibly the least useful light configuration for tree lighting, which is obviously icicles. Did I go and get another kind? No, of course I didn't. I was sweating, I was tired, and I really wanted to decorate the tree, and I was not going to be stopped by faulty lights. So I did my best to make it look like I wasn't wrapping my tree in icicle lights and pushed on. It's important to note that we do not believe in perfection here at the Chaotic Milk Hotel. And finally, it was in fact time to decorate. Everything came together in a bright, chintzy, metallic explosion that not only felt playful, but was entirely made out of unbreakable materials, so my cats can literally play in it, and I don't have to worry about breaking heirlooms or tweezing glass shards out of toe beans. I really love it. I forgot to film it, but I pulled out the long curtains that I'm planning on cutting down and hemming into cafe curtains for the kitchen, and I used them as a tree skirt. Once I tucked in all the little hanging tabs, you could not tell they were curtains at all. I actually really loved the little bit of modernity and sensibility that stripes added to my minimalist worst nightmare of a tree, so I'll be keeping my eye out for a similar fabric over the next year to make a more permanent tree skirt with in the future. After that, it was time to hang the stockings. I picked these up a few years ago and I don't really love them. I spent what felt like months looking on Marketplace and in thrift stores for more interesting stockings before settling on these, and while they're fine, they're a little bit boring and we've since added another member to the family. I am definitely not tackling a sewing project this year, so the cats will be sharing a stocking and I will be keeping my eye out for some interesting fabric or preferably an old quilt to try to make some new stockings in 2026. Things were starting to feel really freaking cute, but I still felt like the gold garland was a little too stern for the rest of the room, so I decided to make, can you guess? Say it with me, another garland. This time using oven-baked clay and another roll of thrifted ribbon. I rolled out the clay and freehanded some messy and wonky stars. I wanted something to contrast with the seriousness of the gold garland, so I decided to keep it really loose and borderline silly. After cutting everything out and re-rolling the scraps to make oh so many more batches, I gave them a quick bake, did not sand them even though I should have, and used E6000 to attach them at the tip of one of their points to the ribbon. I didn't measure the spaces between them, I just eyeballed it, and after a really long time of watching Krampus and gluing, I had what may be my favorite thing I made for the entire holiday. It's delightfully fucky while somehow not veering too much into aggressively handmade territory, and it perfectly served its purpose of lightening up the space above the TV and keeping everything feeling appropriately unserious. And yeah, I love it all. I don't know about you, but the holidays are complex for me. As I get older, I'm caught between the giddiness of childhood and the anxieties and grief that come with navigating the holidays as an adult. Family dynamics are complex, lost loved ones are in the forefront of my mind, and my house is a mid-renovation mess that will not be anywhere close to fixed by the time it's filled with my partner's family on Christmas morning. I'm nervous and wistful and hopeful and happy, and probably will feel 1,000 more unique emotions between now and when these decorations come down in a week or so. But until then, I'm really glad to have filled this space with little baubles and wonky handmade ornaments and more garlands than Krampus himself could shake a stick at. Whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate, I hope your days are bright and happy and full of sparkly bullshit and people who love you. I know I'm really thankful that mine are.